What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another predicted lineup video. Massive game tomorrow at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as we welcome Chelsea, a new manager, Chelsea, and Thomas Tuchel. How do you assess Chelsea?
Thomas Tuchel. I'm not sure. Apparently, it's a few ways of pronouncing Thomas
Tuchel, whatever you want to say.
Sorry, what's the question? How
do you assess him as a manager, and how do you assess Chelsea have been this season?
What, under Tuchel or overall?
Overall,
they weren't terrible up until like a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden their form obviously dropped off a cliff, and they decided to sack their manager on a whim because they felt like they didn't have the relevant experience. And look, I don't think he should have got them the job in the first place, but to give him the job but then sack him after one bad run of form is pretty knee jerk in my opinion. So. And I can understand why a lot of the Chelsea fans are not happy about that. Thomas Tuchel is a good manager. Didn't do awfully at PSG, but got in a bit of trouble with the board and everything and the politics of the situation. Obviously got to a Champions League final and won a couple of league titles, but the league titles are expected, aren't they, in that country. And to get to the Champions League final, albeit in a year where there's only one-off knockout ties instead of double legs, it's still a decent achievement. And he only lost 1-0 in the final, so it's very fine margins to being a success there and obviously losing your job. But obviously Pochettino's there now, but he did a good job at Dortmund, and I think he plays good attacking football usually. And I think he's already implemented a bit of his style on Chelsea. You could see that.
Yeah, he knows how to get his team passing. That's
for sure.
Definitely
true. Definitely true. You can definitely get his team passing.
Yeah, look, the press conference has been done today, and there's some really interesting stuff coming out of that press conference today. You want to run us through it?
Yeah, a lot of interesting things. First, let's start with the team news. Serge Aurier is back in the squad after leaving the stadium at half-time. So that's really positive news. We're really going to need him for this game, so he's back in contention. Harry Kane. He's confirmed that he's only going to be out for about a week, and he could even be back for Everton or Man City in a couple weeks' time with his ankle injuries. They said they were really scared when the injury happened, but he's making good progress, and the scan showed it wasn't so serious. So hopefully for the Everton game, but if not that, City, he's going to be back for that one. Great news. Lo Celso, he's going to be out for another month, apparently, up to another month, which is a really big blow. He must have torn his hamstring or something on that when at that Leicester thing, because he's clearly
worrying with Lo Celso, isn't it?
The hamstring injuries. He must have torn it, and they didn't say at the time, because I don't think it's one of those things where he's had setbacks. I think he must have had a really bad injury, and they didn't reveal the extent of it at the time.
It seems as though it keeps having setbacks, because every time they speak, they talk about further to wait.
They don't though. They never really said up until now. Actually, how long?
I thought at the beginning it was just a couple of weeks.
They didn't say. They never. He just said he was out. I remember at the beginning they never confirmed a time. So
you're probably right then.
Yeah, so I think they should have said earlier how long he was going to be out for, but he's going to be out for another month. The interesting stuff is Dele Alli. So obviously Dele didn't get his move to PSG at the end of the transfer window. He was desperate for that. But the quotes from Mourinho on Dele Alli, he said he needs to recover from his injury, return to training and have a fresh start, because last week he couldn't even train, so that's the most important thing. So he can confirm.
So the injury was real.
He said the injury is real and he's not going to be back to after Everton.
So he wouldn't have passed a medical anyway?
No, he would probably. I don't know. Having said that, he said, I had a good conversation with him yesterday. We spoke around this question that you asked me in regards to will he get back in the team. He said, we spoke about this question and I think we have found very common ground. It's an important period of the season for the team and for him also. We need him and we need a good Dele Alli. We're just waiting for him to get back to good normality. Dele, Kane, Lo Celso, we're talking about players that without all three, we miss a little creation and some magic in the attacking areas. We had a conversation, of course. A conversation doesn't put a player in great form, but hopefully the motivation he needs to get back in the team. We are in the Europa League and the Premier League and the FA Cup, although I don't believe he'll be back for the FA Cup. I think he's physically ready and he'll be in a good frame of mind.
So basically, he's been listening to Harry, and he's put an arm around him. He's put an arm around him. He's like, "All right, come on, let's get going again."
Yeah.
So that hopefully all positive news, apart from the Lo Celso thing.
And also, in regards to Joe Rodon, some negative news. He said he's being left out of the Europa League squad again. He said we didn't put him in. It was a hard decision where we wanted to show respect for the group. We wanted to show respect for the players that started the competition. It would be very, very hard for the group to cope with one player who was involved and then to be taken out. We kept Tanganga in spite of good possibilities for him to go out on loan. We kept him because Tanganga, Sanchez, Dyer and Toby, we have to do it without Rodon. We believe that the emotional impact, it has less impact on a player who was not part of the squad to be continued to be left out than a player who was part of the squad to be taken out of this group, who was involved in the group stages. So we decided in that direction. Joe is still out.
That's an interesting one. If it was up to me, I would have probably put him in instead of Davinson or something. But I get where he's coming from. But still, like,
and also. Good news on terms of quotes on Tongi and Ndombele. He said before it was Tongi or Dele, Lo Celso or Tongi. Now the evolution of Tongi, his physical evolution is so good. He can defend well as well. He is now able to last 90 minutes. It's not about Tongi or Dele now. It could be Tongi and Dele, Tongi and Gio. It's a good window of opportunity for him.
I mean, the main thing about all of that is the Dele Alli thing, in my opinion, because it's what I called for at the end when we did our transfer window roundup. Just patch everything up. Let's get going. Get this guy in the team. We're lacking creativity. We're lacking goals. Come on, this guy has got the creativity in his locker. He's got the goals in his locker. It's just so stupid to have him on the sidelines there not doing anything. So it looks like a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think it's very reminiscent of quotes that he had about Tongi, isn't it, earlier in the season about how he's had a good talk with him. So hopefully we can see him more involved in the second half of the season. And I think for me, the big quotes about Tongi as well, saying he can play centre mid and he can play that centre midfield role with defensive capabilities, and he can now play Tongi and an attacking midfielder, which he felt like he couldn't play in the first half of the season. So that's really positive, and hopefully that could give us more going forward in the second half of the season.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into the predicted lineup. We are going for a 4-3-3 formation this time. In goal, it's going to be Hugo Lloris.
Yep.
Right back.
Serge
Aurier back in the squad.
Yeah, did I mention that?
I think you touched on it. I didn't really go into it. But Serge Aurier back in the squad. So we're going for him to come straight back in the team. Obviously, Sissoko played there last time, didn't do well.
And shows how much he doesn't trust Doherty, does it?
Yeah,
The fact that
Doherty
Sissoko
obviously hasn't pulled up any trees since he's come to Spurs. So Serge Aurier comes back in.
Yeah, we need Aurier for this game. Big game for him and big game for Spurs. So Aurier for sure comes into the team for this one.
Left back. We only have one fit left back in the squad, so he goes straight back in there. Ben Davis.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a great couple of games, but he's got to improve, doesn't he?
Agreed. I think Ben Davis, we have to keep playing him. That's the worry. Hopefully Reguilon, who also he confirmed is going to be out till later in the month.
Late Feb, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big worry. So Ben Davis has to play again. And he's the left back.
Centre back positions, we're going to go for a return for Eric Dyer.
We are. Rodon obviously struggled a bit against Brighton. I actually think we did look better with him and Toby in a back two rather than a back three in the second half. Having said that, some of the worst defensive moments were coming from him, I felt, a lot of the time. So I feel like it's probably best to take him out the firing line again. Despite the fact he's had some good showings, I think, Dyer comes back in for this one. And hopefully him and Toby can rekindle the partnership that they had earlier on in the season.
Yes, obviously that's Dyer alongside Toby Alderweireld. Furthest back in the midfield, we're going to go for the Le General, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. And then we're going to go for a double pivot. First of all, we're going to go for Tongi Ndombele.
Obviously. He's confirmed fit. I should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
He said he is fit for this game and in contention to play.
And then alongside him, it's going to be a toss-up between Sissoko and Harry Winks, but we feel Sissoko is going to get this one.
Yeah, because we know Chelsea out of possession, they like to build with a back three, and they like to get Hudson-Odoi and Chilwell in the full-back positions. So Sissoko is going to have a lot of ground to cover in this one. So I feel like he comes in centre mid. I felt like with the quotes Mourinho was saying before, how Tongi's now can play central midfield and he can be very good defensively. I was feeling we could maybe put Lamela in the attacking midfield position as well. That's also an option behind the striker, because obviously Gio and Dele are both out, so they're not an option, but he does like to play Lamela there sometimes. So I was thinking maybe him, but I think we need just a bit more legs to combat with the Chelsea centre. So I think he's going to go with Sissoko, but don't be surprised if Lamela comes in.
All right, so the left-hand side, obviously, Heung-min Son.
Well, not obviously this time, because he played up front last time,
That's
didn't he?
That's true.
So we are going to put him on the left-hand side because he didn't quite... Although, in a weird paradoxical way, I think he's actually more suited to playing up front in this game than he would be against Brighton because of the way we play.
Yeah, I mean, but even even him on the left-hand side is still a massive threat to the counter.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to have him there.
Yeah, him on the left. Right side, going to go for Stevie B, Steven Bergwijn.
Actually, don't even be surprised if they switch it. Goes on the right
Could be.
and on Bergwijn on the left. They've done that before in big games, and you know how Chelsea like to play their back three.
I think they might interchange throughout the game.
They could do.
Fair.
So we'll see how that goes. But obviously, I want to see something from Bergwijn today, tomorrow, because I wasn't impressed with him against Brighton personally, and I think he needs to do more to really nail down that spot, which he can do.
I thought everyone needed to do more, to be honest, against Brighton. I don't think.
Yeah,
Bergwijn
but he hasn't
was
scored
the
a goal
only
all
one.
season. You know what I mean? It's getting. I know he's played well, and it's not been easy for him, but he needs to start contributing. He really does, because we need him. We need him desperately to start contributing.
And then up top, we're going for Carlos Vinicius. A massive day for him if he does get the nod.
Yeah, obviously Bale started last game. He didn't quite do it. Was taken off the hour. We looked a much better team, or more balanced up front when Vinicius was on. So I think it's probably about time we give him a go and give him a run out. It's obviously a massive game for him. I feel that starting him in this game is difficult, because Chelsea play their back three, and it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to play in this kind of game than a game when we have more possession, say against West Brom on Sunday. So it's going to be like, for example, he comes into this game and doesn't have a good game. You know, everyone's going to be piling on him, and every touch is going to be scrutinised. Again, it's a big game, and it's not an easy game. You know, even Harry Kane might struggle in this kind of game. So, Vinicius might struggle in this game, and people point to him saying, "Look, see, he's clearly not good enough," when it might not be the case. But I think he's going to go for it in this game, and he's going to put the two speedsters on the wing backs, because I think he knows that Chelsea are going to really dominate possession, and we're going to try and exploit them on the counter with our pace. Whereas
they're going to look for Marcus Alonso and Hudson-Odoi to cause
us, or Chilwell, whoever.
Yeah, I think it will be Odoi, but I think they're going to look for them to cause us no end of trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously Bale could be an option off the bench, but I feel like it will be Vinicius in this one.
All right, so let me run through that team with you one more time. So that's Hugo Lloris in goal, a return for Serge Aurier at right back, Ben Davies at left back, a back two of Toby Alderweireld and Eric Dyer, Højbjerg, Sissoko and Ndombele in the middle, with Son, Vinicius and Bergwijn up top. If that's the lineup, what scoreline are you going for?
1-1.
1-1?
1-1. I think we're going to be very more defensively solid than maybe we have been. I'm hoping we tighten it up. I'm hoping putting Sissoko back in the team can give us a bit more ground to cover in the central midfield areas, which we've maybe been lacking. And hopefully Son, Bergwijn and Vinicius can come up with something to get a goal. But I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, so I'm going to go 1-1.
In all the videos I've done so far, I've gone 0-0. But with that bit of slight positive news out the press conference, I'm feeling a bit more positive now. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Spurs.
1-0.
1-0 win to
right.
Spurs. I think you're right. I think that we are going to go be a bit more solid this game. I think that Dyer and Toby are going to have to rekindle that partnership that they had at the beginning of the season, where we looked really, really, really solid at the back and didn't look like anything can kind of penetrate us. So with Sonny and Bergwijn on the counter-attack, I think we can hurt them. Chelsea as well, the way they've looked under Tuchel, I mean, they've looked better than they did under Lampard, but I still think going forward they still have left a bit wanting. They look good in possession, good passing, but they're still not hurting teams. So that's why I'm going to go 1-0 to Spurs. But let me know your scoreline prediction in the comment section below. Let me know your predicted scoreline, predicted team, in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.